The Unfiltered by Jade.
Jade.
Welcome to The Unfiltered by Jade, where we educate, empower, and entertain. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, download, donate, and make everybody know about this.
Beats by RB Records.
Shopping assistance, your style, your budget. Our services include online and local shopping for individuals and businesses, personal shopping, purchasing of company and office supplies, importing and exporting small packages across Jamaica and worldwide, and helping you find unique gifts and items for all events and occasions. Contact us at 876-919-5195 or shoppingassistance2015@gmail.com. Shopping Assistance, your style, your budget.
Misery loves company.
Yeah.
So, and that's why we have to be careful who we go to say, I don't say my husband do something and I don't like it. Because the person, do something, no money have to leave him. Don't mind shop now. If you're going to turn on how to comfort your husband.
Oh my word.
Hey. So, it's funny that you mentioned that whole thing, and I'm going to
hold on.
Because
no, that's a whole different discussion, and if you start a discussion, that's our next
I got continue. Hold on. So one thing, and I mean, I've learned to not make my trauma dictate the way we lead our marriage, because I mean, I've been through a lot, right? So this has been a healing process. And Brian has really been a rock in terms of my healing journey, right? Mm-hmm. But you see the whole thing about the whole talking to somebody about what your husband do, what your wife do, and all them something. Listen, if you want to break down their marriage, keep on doing it.
That's right.
Keep on going around to Tom, Dick, and Harry and whatever. Because guess what? You're not remembering that your wife or your husband still needs to interact with these people, and still actually needs to feel some level of integrity. I've always told Brian, if it's anything, if me trip you over, if me buck your toe, if me step on your white shoes, if anything, tell me before you tell anybody, please, because I'm not in a foolishness. I do not want to be in the dark. I do not want it to be that people is another thing for people are chatting about. I'm not into the foolishness, right? Because at the end of the day, as much as you don't think that that these things are going to physically affect your marriage, you see what you're releasing into the atmosphere. Forget that words have so much power, and even if it's not being said to your face, whatever you're releasing into the atmosphere and putting in other people's heads and whatever can negatively affect your marriage. Yes. So I completely, yes, I've said that to Brian from day one. Sorry.
I feel like it has to definitely come with the seatbelt, because we also don't want to say don't talk to nobody.
Right.
I think it's very, as I said, caution.
Right.
It's like you should know. Well, firstly, make sure whatever you're saying to the person, you say it to your spouse already. At least as best as possible, you say it to your spouse already. Because that surprise thing can always be a thing too. So it's one thing if we had an argument and you know how I feel and I know how you feel, and I go to somebody to just like hash it out, like, what you think? Like, somebody we can share with, I can bounce it off or whatever. So it's not like it's a surprise.
Right.
And they can talk to me and like, we can kind of brush it out, and maybe I can say, all right, you know what? Yeah, true, fine. So it's not a surprise when if it should come back up, because it's nothing that she didn't hear when we were having the argument. It was nothing that she wouldn't hear when we were speaking about whatever. Right? But it's when there are things that are unsaid and I go to somebody and say it, and then it is not resolved. I didn't get no help from the person. Me just vent, and the person maybe affirmed, but never said, you know what, kind of calm it down, and that's a whole other thing, especially with again being careful, especially with family as
Yeah,
well,
listen.
because while you might okay
Move
and
on,
then move
yeah.
on from the situation,
Move on, you know.
family man, them no move on
They don't
yet.
move on.
And it's not like you should never talk to your family about certain stuff, but you also have to get conscious. So like if you do talk to somebody, make sure you go back. But even sometimes even that don't help. But make
Right.
sure you go back and say, yo, say it start out,
Right.
we're good, we are right. But sometimes even for them, that don't matter. Me, I watch
No
it.
matter they don't like the person again, and you invite them over for dinner and them sit down and
Exactly.
say in your partner. Mind sharp, they bring it up. Those are some of the
Exactly.
audacities that
Oh my
happened.
gosh.
One, I just believe if it is that we want to talk, and I'm all for finding somebody to talk to, do suffer in silence. And the truth is, not. I mean, I hear what you guys are saying, but there's not all the time that someone can just go to their partner and say things. All right, so me, I'm too straightforward and too blunt with certain things. So sometimes I have to say, all
Yeah.
right, God, how do I do this? So I call one or two of my sisters and say, hey, how do I say this? I need
Yeah,
help. I
yeah.
know where my faults are. And if I open my mouth, it's going to come out in a different way, and then it's
Right.
going to take longer to resolve. So I
Right.
need help sometimes to put the words together to make it sound like how it's
To
supposed to sound.
sandpaper it, right?
Yes. So what I also appreciate with my sister when I can go to them and talk, it's the fact that they're not gonna say, you know what, him said that, no man, leave him. Don't stay with the boy. Don't stay, and they
Ah,
start putting him
right
down
there,
and belittling. They're not gonna do
right
that
there.
at all. They're
Right.
gonna listen, and then they say, all right, how are you guys gonna resolve this?
Right.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
is what I
Right.
appreciate. And there's no there are time that they will go to him, say my sister said this, so they're not gonna do it because it's none of their business. I'm going to talk
Right.
to you about it. I don't need you in it.
Right. So I actually definitely love that, and I'm happy that you have that system, right? Where there are persons that you can actually trust, that you know their heart for you, and you know their heart for your marriage, and so you can trust like that there's a safe space for you to share those things in.
And I
Right.
think that's the important part. Yeah,
Yeah.
just have a safe space. You know
Right.
that where you know that they are for your marriage,
Exactly.
and they are for your marriage, so they're not here just for you.
Right.
Not just here for you know.
For me, a supplement.
Yeah, man, supplement. Let's go. It's battle time. It's there. They're just not. They're here for the marriage. So whatever
Right.
is gonna happen, they're gonna be open and honest, but trustworthy enough to say, you know what? Anything I'm about to say to you should help both of you, and not just help you to defend yourself at the
Right.
end of the day.
Uh,
Because that's where it is. Just a safe space because marriage also strives in good community.
Yes.
Marriage also strives in good, healthy communities that help to bring up each other, and it's for your marriage, not necessarily for you, the people, both of you, and also for your marriage.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, right? Because even the thing that you mentioned earlier, Glory, and this whole discussion, a big thing that you also want to make sure, and this is for relationships in general. I find that even in terms of going to other persons and getting their opinion, and getting guidance or other perspectives on whatever, I want to also caution persons: do not then come back to your spouse or come back to your friend, come back to whoever, and come say, "Well,
Lord Jesus.
I spoke to other people, and they don't see where I went wrong. So maybe
Oh
this is
my
on
God.
you. Listen to me in Jesus' name, If you
Please
want
don't
to
do
get
it.
me out, listen." So saying,
You
no,
and it's so
no,
funny because again that also has to do with your own heart, because and that also definitely has to do with your own heart, because the discussion could have went where even the person you spoke to did speak to both of you, to the marriage, to the
right.
situation, but you left with, well, they said,
And I didn't do anything wrong.
and I did it like, whoa.
Yes,
Really pitting people against each other though when doing that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so saying that to say, like, I will say, and again, this goes for both marriage and general relationships, like, that's something dangerous to do. And if that is the stance that you take, especially if you're trying to really build something that is lasting and stuff like that, that actually removes that feeling of safety with you and your spouse.
Yes.
You know, like if it is that you and me have something and me I go get what other people say for our thing or whatever, that don't make no sense.
Nope.
And so definitely when it comes to building a marriage and you don't want to add more factors to an already difficult journey or challenging journey. Make sure that you remember that this is you and me. When the lights cut off, when the door closed and everything or whatever, nobody else in our house, ma'am and sir.
Right?
Exactly. So looking at two bright eyed them, so they're saying that
it has to fix. Both of us have to fix it. The others are not going to be here. And what can help also is if it is that you feel like, okay, there's this one person that I can bounce things off, how about I let my partner know? Hey, this is the person who I'm going to try and bounce stuff off. Are you comfortable with this person or not?
That's exact. So funny enough, that's one thing that Brian and I have established as well, because I'll be very transparent here. So a lot earlier in the first part, Brian would have mentioned that we have two very different backgrounds, and when I say different, like from east is to west, right? He grew up in the beautiful community, everybody's family, everybody's coming over each other's house, growing up, journeying, beautiful, right? I grew up in a more lone wolf society. I don't want to say, I'm not gonna say it. It's just how our different communities were established, right? And so based on that, now, and I'm also an only child, right? For my mother, and then for my father, like there's a multitude, but we won't get into that.
Right.
So saying that to say, like I've had to fend for myself, and then in that. Even if I've been in different communities at different points, a lot of things have happened in my life that have caused me to more be insulatory, kind of, and go through things like as a singular individual, right? And so saying that to say, like it was a huge culture shock when entering Brian's space. Because there were so many opinions and there were so many things of, oh, this is how you do this, or there's so many things of, oh yes, we have meetups all the time, or so and so and so. And then when I started learning how his community thinks and operates and stuff like that, and also reflecting on how I am and the different ways that I do things and stuff like that, I asked him personally, like, yo, can you let me know if you are going to be speaking to this person or that person when it comes to our marriage, so that I can be prepared? You get what I'm saying? So that I can know that, all right, cool, this person knows this about me. And like, so I don't need to like go into this deep rabbit hole, like, as best as I possibly can help it. Just in case, like, me feel, that kind of a thing.
Right.
And so I've also said to him that, yo, like, when it comes to discussing certain things about our marriage, I do not want that I don't want that with people's table talk. I'm not interested.
Right.
Especially when, and I mean, this is not, funny enough, this is not his close community. I'm just talking about generally as well. So again, so this part now, when I see how, we call it now, how, I don't know, there's a lot more interaction and a lot more persons who know each other on this side of the fence versus my side of the fence, right? And so for me, I've seen where other situations have happened where news just reach back to other people and them never even know so the person know each other. You get what I'm saying? And for me, like, those things scare me, and I've been seeing it. And so I've said to him, like, yo, I do not want like different things in my marriage to come out like that. Now, granted, it's not like we are in the dungeons and all them something there. But saying that to say, like, I just try and protect certain aspects of my marriage, because not everybody's business, not my business, don't need to be everybody else's breaking news. So I believe that when it comes to marriages and stuff, you need to also establish a filter when it comes to information that's outside there about your marriage and stuff. And funny enough, the huge test of this actually came for us last year. Last year was a very difficult time for us when it came to our marriage. Because a lot of different situations happened to us where we were not even able to control any form of narrative or whatever, because there's so many different situations happened, right? And we literally had to regroup after that and stuff. And after regrouping and going through the different situations and stuff, we had to decide that, all right, cool, there are just certain things that we do not feel safe sharing and stuff like that. There are certain things we do not feel okay with persons having such access to and stuff, and that has helped us to really rebuild in a different type of way, and decide that our marriage needs to be protected and stuff. So this is not even something we're saying off top of our head. This is something we went through. So it's very important for your marriage.
I love that. As passionate as this can be, what is it that your marriage has taught you about God?
Right.
My marriage has taught me about God that He gives a lot of patience and grace.
Yes, man.
He gives a lot of patience and grace. And He truly doesn't treat us as we should be treated.
Listen to me.
Um, when you take the time to, you know, reflect and introspect and just kind of look through a lot of things that could have happened, didn't happen, or your spouse, really and truly your spouse could have dealt with you in a way that you couldn't say nothing about it. Like, I deserve that. And she didn't. It shows you how much, we go through life with the grace of God, with the patience of God. When you see how much you yourself may have to, you know, the different decisions you want to make, rush and do and go through. And when it turns out it didn't help anybody, it didn't help your spouse, it didn't help you. But at the same time, your spouse now gonna quit on you. Your spouse now gonna be like, well, this thing went wrong, it went left, and some are gonna left now. They're still there, they're still fighting. It allows you to see love. It allows you to see their heart for you. And so I think that's yeah, man, definitely the three biggest things for me, like his patience, his grace, and his love.
For me, what it's taught me about God, it's just how much He cares about the little things.
Yeah.
About the things that you don't even think like He is listening to, or all of that. But like, funny enough, as I said, like, after regrouping after a difficult 2022, earlier this year, I kept on saying to Brian, boy, God really picked you out for me, like, God really sat down and decided that, Brian is for Charmian. And saying that to say, like, there's certain things that Brian does to balance me out. There's certain things that Brian will think about or do that like maybe my inner thoughts would have desired at some point in my life, but that I've never fully voiced them. But the Lord knows that the Lord knows our deep desires. The Lord knows the things that really help to balance us out and cause us to feel loved and seen. And the Lord delivers that, and He delivered a lot of that through Brian. And so that's one thing that marriage has taught me, that God cares about the little things that we don't realize. And then another thing that it has taught me is that the Lord, it's also taught me about grace. The fact that the Lord really, based on just how messy life can be, the Lord really has been graceful in terms of putting someone there to grow with you, and someone who is equally as committed to this journey as you. And so giving you that live support. So even, the Lord is with us at all times, but there's still something about just having that partner beside you who can like tangibly hold your hand and tangibly like give you a hug and them kind of things there. So the grace and that favor of having someone to journey with you through life is beautiful to live in and journey with. And I would say the last thing that He has that marriage has taught me about God is that the Lord is okay with you being elastic. No, it's funny enough. I this is actually a term from one of my previous bosses that has etched itself in my heart. Where, well, it was a different context where he was saying, make sure you marry someone who is elastic, like someone who can grow with you, and all of that. but also like sometimes we as individuals and also as married couples, we feel like the same way that Lord met you, like legit, literally in your womb, in your mother's womb, is the same way He's going to expect you to be all day, every day. You know,
Yeah.
like there's no sort of dynamism, there's no sort of growth in certain things or whatever. So people think that they need to stay the same way. That people think that they need to interact with Him the same way. Like a reality is that sometimes people, when they get into marriage, they don't realize that fine a reality that your relationship with God will change.
Yes.
Like it sounds terrible to say on the surface, but it's going to like initially you're going to still try and figure out your balance. Like how do you indeed still devote time to God? How do you still whatever? Is it and also in terms of how you relate to God, it's going to be different because you're gonna have a lot more on your mind. You get me? So there's a huge opportunity for your relationship with God to get deeper, funny enough. And so based on that now, he allows you to be elastic. He allows you to explore your relationship with Jesus Christ and get more real and get more intimate with Him and stuff like that. And if it is that a part of that realness and a part of that intimacy is you sitting down one day and say, God, yo, I'm tired of this, or God, like God is not afraid of your anger. God is not afraid of you being real. But at the end of the day, He wants relationship. He wants you to be able to reach out to Him and stuff like that. So one thing it's really taught me about God is that God not afraid of me. God is literally willing to journey with me through the craziness and through all of my emotions and stuff, because that is that path to healing. That is that path to Him flooding me with love. That is that path to Him literally elevating me and truly bringing me higher and bringing me closer to Him. So for me, I'll take real with Him any day. I'll take elasticity any day. And I know that I can feel safe in being elastic in Him. And marriage has been the ultimate teacher of that.
I love that.
Thanks.
Marriage teaches us about God. Marriage teaches us about our relationship with God, because constantly in the marriage we have to. It's like, all right, our partners do something, I will vex. All right, God, I've done new things if you're still here.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you the introspection a lot of times, and to be honest, I don't like it all the time. But it makes you have to introspect and say, okay, God, how can I be a better person? Because sometimes you have to fix ourselves so the marriage can be healed.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's true.
Just like how sometimes we have to fix ourselves to be a better Christian, or we have to fix
yeah.
Right.
ourselves to hear God, or sometimes we have to, just like how Brian said, quote unquote, shut up. Just shut up sometime, because sometimes we need to learn to shut up in our marriages
Yeah.
and in our relationship with God so that we can hear Him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
And can I tell you, you said the right thing a while ago. It's like, how can I be a better person? And I think I was sharing this with C recently. Like, how can I be a better person? You said that versus how can I be a better wife?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because so many times I feel like people will ask, how can I be a better wife? And a wife is a role. And it's a
That's
role
right.
that you can easily play when you're home.
Right.
But when
Mm-hmm.
you're outside of here, so it's like when I'm home, I can do this as a wife. Outside of this, I can do this to anybody else. And what we don't realize is that when we're in marriage is also teaching us how to be better persons overall in other
Yes.
relationships. So
Yes.
it may not be the same amount or extent of love and grace and everything, but it's still teaching you grace.
Right.
It's still teaching you how to be respectful. It's still teaching you how to honor people. It's still teaching you how you deal with situations, because everything is relational.
Right.
And so therefore it's not just about being a better wife or a better husband. It's just overall like, how can I be that better person, so
Yeah.
that it's not just reflected here. And sometimes that's something that your spouse will even see. And it is even better because it will be seen like, okay, she's not just doing this for me.
Right.
I see that she's also doing this with other people around, and that it shows me that that's even genuine, because it's not just like she's just trying to do it for me. And so,
Right.
and funny enough, if you're just trying to do it for that person, eventually it will burst.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually it will show.
Yeah.
Because the face, the mask,
The
the
facade will
role,
fall
the
off.
facade will
Exactly.
eventually fall off, because this is not something I perpetuate throughout
It's
life.
not
It's just
sustainable.
something, it's just right
Exactly,
here.
exactly.
And so, yeah, it's a lot of times it is very important that we not just think about the role in itself, but the person, me as a person. How can I be that better person? So when I'm practicing, it's not just me practicing with my wife, it's also me practicing with my coworker, it's also me practicing with my friends, being that better person, so that overall that integrity is there for say, no man, it's not just with him wife, it's like he's that with everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe with him wife it's more intense,
Right.
but he's really like that overall.
Yeah.
So that's very important.
Yeah.
Nice. I want you guys to encourage persons out there who want to get married but are afraid to get a divorce because of what they have heard.
Woo.
Yeah, but you take that first, baby.
Maybe beef it take that first. Why you wanna go first? I mean, it's a persons who want to get married.
Yes.
Or afraid of doing.
Yeah. So is it? So I feel like I want to speak to the two, those who want to and those who are, but maybe still young.
Mhm.
For those who want to, um, we first of all, let me say we're at 4 years, and we're still learning. We're still understanding. Whatever we've shared is really just what we've went through so far, and maybe 5, 10 years from now, we'll come back on the podcast and we'll share even more.
That's right.
you know, and uh, and I'm saying that to say, at the end of the day, the journey will be yours and your spouse.
Yes.
The journey will be yours and your spouse. So therefore, whoever the person is very important. Who you choose is very important. Who you can find those definite qualities in for say, I can be a friend with this person, I can vibe with this person, I am attracted to this person, I am in love with this person, I can see myself is well, not just seeing yourself, but you can see the different qualities of this person, not just with you, but with overall everybody else, whether your family, their family, with other people and other friends. You see the different things. It matters. And just be willing to go in and fight. And this is for those who want to and those who are. Just be willing to fight. Just be willing and ready to work. Not fight each other, but fight the issues.
Right.
But and be willing to be ready for those hard times. And a lot of people, and maybe somebody's gonna say, ready for hard times. Well, I mean, think about it. The ant prepares for the winter.
That's right.
The ant prepares for the winter. In summer, he prepares for the winter, so that when winter comes, he's ready. He's holding on. And it's not to say that, okay, there will be no days of fun and joy. There will be days of fun and joy, and you're going to make those fun and joy. But all the same, you're also building the principal things, the foundational things, so that at the end of the day, when the winter comes, you're building the friendship, you're building the love, you're building the intimacy, so that when the winter comes, there's something to hold on to. There's something to fall back on. There's something to remember why you married this person. There's something to say, if you go upon your knees and go to God and Lord and say, Lord, give me a way. Help us find a way. I know this is not it. I know this cannot end us. I know that we can make this through. But right now, we not see it. It looks sticky. Clear up my eyes and let me see. I remember, give me the time to remember when you gave me a solution for this situation, or you gave us a solution for this situation already that I'm not even thinking about right now. Just be ready to fight and be there. Just be ready to turn down the external voices, and also receive a marriage filter. Because it's not everything. You might get a lot of advice and everything, but it's not everything you need. Some things may need to go into the trash. Some things you may need to put up for a later date, and some things you're gonna need right now.
Yeah.
You have to know how to filter that through God and through the lens of good, healthy marriage practices, right? And so, yeah, I definitely encourage anybody. Marriage is a beautiful thing. It's a good thing. And it's something that I believe you should want. And if you want to get into it, but at the same time, be prepared for it. At the same time, don't take it willy-nilly. We practice to drive. We practice to drive. Any skill that we have to practice for it. We go to 4 years of school for a degree, yet we don't want to take the time to learn and understand different things before we get into marriage. No, it should be the same intensity of, you know what? Let me understand certain things. Let me have some conversations with people who have done this thing already and gone through. Is there any marriage that I see that is truly good and healthy? And I'm not just talking on surface. Like when I interact with them, I see good marriage. I see what something that I want. Is there anyone that's there that I can go to them and say, hey, I see what you have and I want that. How did you reach here? How did you get here? Ask those questions. Be willing and brave to ask those questions and get into community that will help you grow and build in a good marriage. So that's just my encouragement. Fight, fight, trust God and love. Yeah.
Babe, that was good. I must say. I would say my encouragement to persons who want to get married but they're afraid of getting divorced. You need to, or I believe it is best to, like, you need to sound forceful, I think. I believe it is best for you to figure out what you indeed want for your life. Now, let's get deeper in that. Now, our reality is that when I was praying to God, and I again met Brian under some interesting circumstances, but long and short of it, I was on a 7 month fast from men.
That's
And I
right.
said, Lord, like, this is my list. This is who I desire as my husband, and anything that you don't think needs to be on this list and whatever, like, you can just get rid of that. And yeah, saying that to say, I met Brian on the last day of that fast, and
Nice.
the rest is history. Now, saying that to say, a big part of that was I didn't want to be single for the rest of my life. I did not want to grow because I know that I have a lot of purpose in me. I did not see myself enjoying that alone, right? And so I asked the Lord to speak to me about who my partner would be, and He showed me that my husband would be a mighty man of God and all of those things. Like, He spoke to me about my husband, and here he is in living flesh. Now, saying that to say, like, in me deciding on what I wanted for my life and getting the release from the Lord that, yo, yeah, indeed, I am going to get married and stuff like that, um, I decided that, yo, cool, in me getting into a marriage and preparing myself mentally for that, I'm going to fight for that because I've decided that I am not going to be going for the rest of my life, growing and sowing seeds for a legacy alone.
Right.
And so with me deciding on that, everything that we get into, every scuffle, every whatever, like, doesn't automatically be start with, okay, you know what, maybe we should get a divorce. No, excuse
Right.
me? No. And as much as, funny enough, I do believe in divorce and stuff, it's not my quick card,
That's right.
right? And so for me, like, for persons who want to get married but you're afraid of divorce, you have to decide on what you want for the rest of your life. What does your legacy look like? What has the Lord spoken to you about in terms of your purpose filled life? And you need to invest in that. And investing is not always going to be cute. It's not always going to be like, these days, talking about stocks is cute now, beautiful. It's not always going to be, it's not always going to be cute. Like, it's going to be like the Great Depression sometimes.
Yep.
You get me? But at the same time, cool, after the Great Depression, there was a huge boost. After the most recent recession or whatever, there was a huge boom in real estate and all of them thing there. And if we quit in the midst of the recession, we would not have been able to see the other side of things.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to decide again what you want for the rest of your life and commit that to God and allow God to be the center of all of that so that He can actually guide your steps. And in doing that now, whether or not you because at the end of the day you can never determine how your journey is going to be because you don't know how your life is going to be necessarily. But when you start with that yes, when you start with that commitment, when you start and say, yo, this is the goal that I'm working towards, at least that lines up the path, at least that forms like a skeleton or an outline that allows you to say, all right, cool, at least this is what I'm working towards. And that standing on that basis with God literally in the driver's seat literally makes a heck of a difference.
Yes.
So I want to encourage you, find and know that there's a fear of divorce, but you literally have the power over divorce by actually deciding on what you want for your life. And actually, as Brian said, choosing a partner that has a similar outlook and drive as you. So that's really it from me.
I just want to add one more thing.
Come on, that's fine.
If you want to get married but you're also afraid of divorce, you possibly need to one get off Instagram or filter it. Or filter it very, very neatly, like very, very properly. Like, or just get off. Just get off. No, it's a serious thing. Social media can be very good and can be so very bad.
Yeah.
Social media can allow us to. Charmian and I can put up a very great picture, and you would not have known that we had a big argument that day or while we were driving. You don't know. And sometimes, and a lot of people would say, well, that's why you shouldn't be fake or what. No, it's not like people want to be fake, but the truth is not everything people is going to put out there. Not everything people are going to be like, yeah, I'm going to, well, hi, see our smiling faces. We just had a big fight. Hey, no, it's not gonna always be like that. I've seen couples do that, like just kind of being real with people, just knowing like it's not all glitz and glamour, but at the same time, you're not gonna get that every day. And so therefore, social media is not your friend when it comes down to if you're really looking for a very good wholesome marriage. As I would have stated before, find it in real persons, see it in real persons, ask them questions, get to know about it, and go in your word, go in the Bible. What does the Bible teach about marriage? What does the Bible teach about what marriage should look like? Right. And as Charmian would have said, find a partner that sees it in those good, wholesome, and also biblical ways, so that at least you both are on the same page. Right. It's not like you're here and they're not on that page, and then you're also trying to just, no man, come to my side. Come to my side. Learn it.
I'll pull you along.
You get it because, she looks hot, she looks great, she looks nice, but she just needs to get my understanding and morals. Or even vice versa. He's so great, he's so nice, he's so loving, but he just needs to understand that he can't live the life like that and want to be with me.
That's how the real equal yoke.
Yeah, man. And so, that's my tidbit. Definitely, social media is not your friend if you're trying to look for that.
Exactly.
And comparison is the killer. Don't compare yourself with anybody else.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm telling you, trust me. If especially right now, if so many persons are trying to compare their relationship with all Love is Blind.
Hey,
yeah, man.
Hey. Let's not talk about that.
As great as Brett and Tiffany looks in this new season,
I am very sure that they have issues.
Come on,
exactly.
Trust me.
Your relationship probably is like the two that he never chose her first. This is reality of relationship.
Yeah, man. So as great as it looks, and I'm sure a lot of people, why my husband can't treat me like that?
Oh, you don't know whatever is happening behind closed doors.
Trust me, please don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah. Give thanks for it. Thanks for the inspiration, and I'm glad. I hope they continue flourishing in a great marriage, their marriage. Yeah. I need to focus on what needs to happen here and fix that, and not try to make my husband into Brett or my wife into Tiffany.
Yeah. That is right. That is correct. Very good on that. And remember, guys, if it is that we're not growing, we're dying. So we need to grow in our relationship. That's what it's for. So sometimes I hear women say, I'm not gonna be with anyone I have to grow with. He has to have his thing and everything together and I have to
No,
have my thing and everything.
girl.
If you're not growing,
No.
you're dying.
Yeah,
Because the
exactly.
truth is, men who have everything together don't want you if you don't have anything.
Woo.
Hey. Woo.
Guys, suburbs. Let's just let's this is the realest
Ah.
that we can talk about it. It is true. So
Yeah.
learn to grow with somebody, build stuff together. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid to build together because we're gonna divorce. Because if you enter into a marriage with divorce, at the front of your mind, that's what you're gonna go to every time. The door is always gonna be an option.
Exactly.
Yep,
It's
yep,
true.
yep. Straight up.
So let's not do that. And I remember Gary L. Thomas, he said, I can't imagine any better thing to do than to get married if it is that you want to be more like Jesus.
Yep, yep,
Ooh, that's it.
yeah,
Ooh.
And
yeah,
that is
yeah,
what
yeah.
a lot of people don't understand because you know you're a fairy tale and you have this fairy tale wedding and this
Mm.
marriage and who it's supposed to because I've been there. I had this
Right.
fairy tale thing and then 2 months I pack up, this not it. Let me pack up myself and go.
Yeah.
Until you have to realize that listen, the two different people coming together. It's
Yeah.
never gonna be perfect. And that is why
Yeah.
you're gonna have to fall back on what you guys knew intentionally. So instead of, and I'm gonna say to the listeners, do not enter a relationship. You're not just fluttering up this butterfly because it's probably
Nope.
gas. Have
Ah.
conversations. Have a whole heap of conversations about
Drink some ginger tea.
yes. Have a lot of conversation about things that you probably are embarrassed to talk about. You don't want to talk
Yeah.
about. You're afraid to talk. You don't want to say because they're gonna look away. Have hard conversations because if you
Yeah.
don't, you're gonna enter a marriage having it's gonna be built on sand. And every
Yeah.
little thing that's gonna happen, it's gonna sink because there's no real firm foundation. You cannot build a marriage on sex. You cannot build a marriage on going out and partying. That is not what marriage is
Exactly.
built upon. There are gonna be times.
Exactly.
There are gonna be times that
Ooh.
quote marriages. Marriages work, and just like how you get up every day and you work. Hold on, do they? But just like how you get up every day and you work because there's a goal of getting money at the end of it. That's for a lot of people that do that. There are people also who do, you know, you get up and you do something you enjoy, so it's not considered work.
Right.
When you do that and you enjoy it, it's not considered work, but you want to see a benefit. That's why you continue doing it. Do the same thing for your marriage.
Exactly.
I just want to say, boy, you raised two things a while ago because my word. First and foremost, as you spoke about marriage is also not about going to a bag of parties and stuff. We've been realizing in Jamaica locally, like there are a lot of either influencers or entertainers that are coming together or getting married and what have you. And they're still, they still show like, oh, they go out and they this and they that. And again, see why social media is not your friend. Because you're gonna also look at that and say, well, they were partying before, they're still partying now. So we can do the same. And I was just like, yo, don't follow that, don't watch that. And reality is of it is that maybe they have had conversations.
Right.
Maybe they know how their dynamic is. Maybe they decide to, all right, yeah, we can do this and still do what we used to do or what have you. But you have not had that conversation.
Right.
And so that's one. And two, I want to say to persons who are married, whether you're young in marriage or whatever years you can still have those conversations. The same conversation you're talking about, Jade, you can still have those conversations. Carry your partner to sit down at a park or wherever. Decide, make the time, plan the time, sit down, start to have those conversations. Open it with the fact that hey, we really don't, or we really haven't had some conversations, and start to have those conversations. You know why? Because one, you'll either find out one, your partner can handle those conversations and we can, and they also have some stuff to say that you need to find out now if you can handle. Two, they can't handle those conversations. And now the work maybe needs to start off, okay, why can't you? And where is this coming from? Or at least to find out how can we bridge that gap to say, let's have those conversations because you need that, and as a matter of fact they need that too. Them not even knowing, like they need that space of like, oh, I can say this and you're not gonna say nothing, like you're not gonna feel no way, or you're not, even if you feel a way, you're not gonna tell me say you're done with me. because there's
Yeah.
so much of that.
Right.
I mean, Charmian and I at different points had to do conversations where we sat down and we said, we're gonna have
a
some
safe-
conversation.
yeah.
This is a safe space
To be very
to
blunt.
be very blunt
Yeah.
and also very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so therefore, whatever you're gonna and whatever we say to each other, whether it is something that I'd want you to fix or change, I see that is a problem or what have you, we're gonna say, okay, I hear you, and I'll work on it. Or, okay, I've listened to you, and let's see how we can work it through. But provide a time where it's a no judgment, it's a no judgment space, it's a safe space for us to just sit down and talk through some stuff so that the person can be like, wow, let me and it might start off slow, it might not start off with them saying everything because you're both maybe at a place where we're really just testing. I'm really just seeing how much we can handle with each other. But it is necessary because you never know what might come up out of just saying, you know what, I'm not gonna judge you, I'm not gonna say anything to you, I'm not gonna return bashful or negative words to you. I just want to listen to what you have to say, and vice versa.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, to add on to that, I actually wanted to still encourage the persons who are not married just yet, with this same point, in the sense of, so part of the reason you might not be you've been like battling in your brain and stuff is because you're wondering indeed if this person is the right spouse. Like, I mean, because we always hear the horror stories, oh, I married him, it was such a bright and beautiful morning, and all of those things, and then like him turn around and chop up the neighbor dog, like like right, like it just turns into a cycle. You get me? So sometimes it feels like you just never know who you're getting to know. But a reality is that if you are willing to have a lot of these conversations, and if you're willing to literally sit down, this might seem like too much work, but I promise you, if this is for the rest of your life, you're gonna want to do this work. I encourage you to sit down and write a list of things that you want to know. What you want to know how this person treats their mother. You want to know how this person treats their friends. You want to know why this person is does not have people around them. You want to know how this person is with money. Like, literally, list out the things that are possible deal breakers for you, or possibly would cause there to be a red flag on all those things, and get those questions answered. Get those things answered, so that and even if somebody wants to provide a Miss World answer, because those will happen, right?
Oh God.
Right?
To the world.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Even if you want, if somebody want to give that answer, whatever, the proof is in the pudding, right? A reality is that there will always be a situation or two situations that will come up even before you walk down the aisle and stuff. Even if up to the day before our wedding, right? There will always be a situation that will come up that will cause you to see that person's character, because they cannot hide behind the words that they said to you. And so I want to encourage you to be watching. And it's not like you're going to have them sitting an exam. You're not trying to test them, and say, all right, cool, you get 80%, so you pass and passing grade. But I'm just saying, like, if you really want to move beyond that place of doubt, and get rid of any form of potential regret and stuff like that, write down the things that will definitely cause you to be questioning things and whatever, and then move into that place of, all right, cool, being investigative, because again, this is the rest of your life you're talking about, and get those answers. And if those answers truly sit well with your spirit, and you put them before God, and God say, yeah man, yeah, I ate this, then yeah, you are fine.
And if it is that you don't know where to start with questions, there are many cards online.
Exactly.
Go and buy some conversation starters. Buy some of those things, and it can really help. And just don't ignore the red flags. It's not carnival. There's no party happening. Red flags.
No.
Don't ignore those.
It's not a design.
Don't. Just work for what you want. Everything that you want, your goals, they don't come easy, and that's really a testament to how far it is or how hard it is that we want something. So let's work towards our goals and continue to stay consistent on it, and get to know each other love language.
That's right.
I want to I want to ask you guys, where is it that we can find you?
Well, you can, I mean, just to be quick, you can find us Page Media, PAJE Media. You'll see our personal handles up at the top. Bless the Lord. But yeah, so you can, we speak about a lot of hard hitting topics, you know, in the Christian community, because we believe that, you know, Christians are wholesome individuals and you can have fun in the Lord. So yeah, PAJE Media on Instagram and TikTok especially. And then you can definitely enjoy the content. Yeah.
For we follow the personal handles, you'll see all the other links.
All the other things are
everything.
there.
Yeah, so
Everything
that's
is.
link page.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, thank you so much, guys. I really enjoyed this conversation. This was an
Us too.
We did.
Yeah.
It was a really authentic and pure conversation. And it is a conversation that I think should be had on many other platforms, especially in Christendom, churches, everywhere. People need to have these conversations to learn from it and to realize that, hey, we're not alone. There are other
That's right.
that have these struggles, and all we need to do is to really find a safe space to talk about it and not be condemned or, you know, oh my God,
Right.
you're asking about this. Yeah, because truth be told, children don't just show up on your front steps. So have conversations that can, you know, educate others about this
Right.
without people feeling like they can't or they don't want to talk about it or it's an awkward situation. This is life. We're all going through life and each one helps one. And I think that's what God wants us to do.
Definitely.
Marriage is a ministry. And we can minister to persons through our marriage. And just like how we minister to each other in the marriage, we need to minister to other persons so that they can see and say, you know what, this is what God desires. This is what God desires.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And we want to say thank you to you, Jade, like for having us. Like it has definitely been a very refreshing conversation as well. And so, you know, to your listeners, we pray that, you know, at least even one thing that we would have said in all this time like would encourage you. And we believe heavily in true healthy relationships, especially relationships that are led by Jesus Christ. And
Amen.
we believe it's possible, and that is the backbone of healthy communities. Yeah, thank you so much for having us. Definitely.
No problem. Thank you so much again. And thank you to our listeners again for listening to The Unfiltered by Jade. And we'll be back next week, Tuesday. Thank you.
Bam bam bide, bam bam bide, badu bidi, bam bam bide.